Welcome back, fellow sleuths. I'm Chris, and with episode 6 firmly in our rear view, we have a good bit to talk about. So let's jump right into the mystery and the theories because you did not come here for a recap. You already watched the episode and you don't need me to tell you what happened. So let's start with Victor and Henry's journey into the caves because they have a pretty warm and cozy setup down there, an open floor plan, and especially a very interesting table setup. First, this type of table is the same red table we see Jade and Tabitha working on trying to figure the bottle tree out. And it's set up as if it's expecting 3 additional guests. Jasper sitting at the head of the table, and Henry seems to find something of Miranda's. So this means the monsters at one point probably took one. Now this could have been a long time ago, or maybe when they killed Kelly and her boyfriend Brian, who let them in the bar, they snagged one then. And we see the number 3 pop up again. There are 3 empty seats at that table, and it could be for the 3 people chosen to be part of the unholy trinity, not to mention the 3 red rocks that Jade sees and that Tabitha remembers seeing at the end of the episode. Also, the monsters have relocated further into the cave system, and according to Dead Tom from Season 2, nature always keeps the most important stuff locked away tight. Now, this could be because the town is beginning to make some progress and push further into their territory. It could be because they know something else is coming and they're preparing for it. Or as the cycles draw to a close, they go further and further into the cave system for some other purpose. But we also learn that the monsters may not always be asleep during the day, which could mean a few things. 1, they would actually be hurt if they came out during the day. 2, they are not allowed out during the day. Maybe the rules prohibit it. Or Victor and Henry woke her up. Either way, she tells Victor if he keeps coming down there, they will make him stay, which gives me the impression that he does not have unlimited plot armor, and if he keeps meddling where it doesn't belong, they're going to make him stay. It also hints at the fact that they might have made other people stay, so maybe everyone down there isn't a monster. Lastly, what is interesting is how the monsters keep items. One theory for this could be that the monsters are actively trying to mimic human behavior. From how they look and act, how they interact with human equipment, kind of like how Smiley looked at the bus, and how they live in their caves. And we were able to identify a book in the cave scene called A Day in the Life of America, which is a book of 300 photos documenting American life. All the photos were taken in one day, May 2nd, 1986. So maybe they look at books and advertisements like this and try to mimic what they see or mimic what's happening above them. However, on the other end of the spectrum, the boy in white told Victor to take items from each of the dead and bury them since he was unable to physically bury all the bodies. So the question is, does the boy in white's motivation for taking personal items from the dead differ from that of the monsters? Anyway, now we have Jasper. Now, I personally do not think it's going to be Christopher talking. I think it's going to be whatever was talking to Christopher in the flashback. The question is, how are they going to make it talk? Is it going to be as obvious as fire or a wood chipper, or will it require a vessel, like Jade, who has seen it a few times and now is essentially picking up the mantle of where Christopher left off? However, what I would like to see is the doll talk through Victor, just because I think seeing him talk confidently and evil and very different from his normal character would just be really cool to see. I don't think it's going to happen, but in my head, that'd be pretty awesome to watch. But since we're talking about vessels, Fatima is not pregnant. We were wrong over here at Screen Sleuths. I was sold on the Rosemary's Baby symbolism, but it looks like that is not the case. So what the hell is wrong with her? Well, to Fatima's point, something is inside her. She's definitely being drained of her energy, but it seems like it's almost a possession by the Kimono woman after seeing Elgin's photo of her. Now, does this mean that Fatima is the Kimono woman from some other time or place? No. But she does have a grip on Fatima and acts like a psychic vampire, a creature in folklore said to feed off the life force of other living creatures. Now, Rob and I have said in the past that we do not think the Kimono woman is evil, and maybe she's trying to help, but after the last episode, we are both beginning to lean back the other way. The way she speaks to Elgin comes across to us like she's taking advantage of him and playing on his general good nature. And it reminds me of the voice that Sarah hears in Season 1. It tells her it can help her go home. It tells her it can save everyone if she does what she's told. And maybe the Kimono woman is what was talking to Sarah. And now she's moved on to another mark that she can easily manipulate in order to get herself free. But let's jump over to Jade. Our man Jade is going through a full-on Beautiful Mind situation here, trying to figure out the pattern that's inside the bottle tree numbers. And right now, there doesn't seem to be one. And after Jade gets some tough love from dead Tom, he may go back, sober up, and look at things with a new perspective. But I get the feeling that Ethan will find the connection because he's able to look at this puzzle from a different perspective, a child's perspective. And this may be important if it was a child who put those notes in the bottles to begin with. And given the reverse numbers, that could be the case. People who write some numbers backwards are often young children who are still developing their fine motor skills. This behavior is commonly referred to as number reversal, and it's pretty normal in kids up to the age of around 6 or 7. With that said, it does not mean it was a kid. The logistics of making the bottle tree may still have been difficult for a kid of 6 or 7 years old to do. So that begs the question, if it was an adult and not a child, why didn't they write themselves a more specific note? And it could be because it wasn't supposed to be a note at all. It was supposed to be coordinates or dates or times to some place or some time somewhere else. Now at this point, Tabitha sees the drawings of the totems and remembers her nightmare from childhood, the one that she's had over and over and over again, where she is at the old settlement and she is caught by whatever she was hiding from that was flying around above her. This nightmare is interesting for a few reasons, but the most important one for me right now is that this is what happened to Abby in season 1, when she tells Ellis that she was just remembering a dream she had when she was a little girl while looking off into space. Then she walked away, and sometime in that episode or the next one, she started shooting people, trying to send people home because she thought it was all a dream. And they are not the only ones to have a dream of the town. Elgin also remembers being there before and talking with the boy in white in his dream. And after Ethan wakes up in the RV, after being hurt, he tells Jim, amongst other things, that he saw the Lake of Tears, and then the spider came down and everyone was screaming. So, was that what was coming down on young Tabitha in her dream? Was the spider that we have seen so many hints for throughout the show finally making an appearance? Something else worth mentioning is how young Tabitha's dressed in the dream. It's old, like 1500s old, like Jade's one-eyed friend with the crunk cup kind of old. So is the reason the kids in white keep appearing to her because they saw each other in her dreams? Or was this one of Tabitha's past lives that she is remembering as a nightmare and she knew the kids in white? Who knows? But it does beg the question, will anyone else in town remember dreams or nightmares about being in the town they had when they were a child? It took a specific item to trigger her memory, so maybe everyone has been there before. And I know, that's not a new idea, but I think the last episode lent it a little more credence than it had before. With all that said, I have one last idea that I want to run by you guys. After watching Tabitha's dream scene, I started to think about more of the dream realm and the nightmare realms and what that can mean for the show and where these people might actually be at. And while looking, I came across a webcomic called Shadow Slave. And the description for the situation in the comic was eerily spot on for the show. Now, to be clear, I do not think that Shadow Slave is what From the TV show is based on. But there are a lot of creative similarities, and some of these similarities may lay good groundwork for a theory for From where they exist in a dream or nightmare realm. Not dreaming, but actually in a different realm that is for dreams and nightmares. So listen to the synopsis and then tell me what you guys think. The nightmares are the trials that the spell created. They are populated by both monsters and humans. Each nightmare contains a central conflict that has to be resolved for the nightmare to end. These conflicts are believed to be reconstructions of the events from the ancient history of the dream realm. The dream realm is a vast, ruined, magical world populated by nightmare creatures. It is also the place where nightmares are born. Humans are brought there by the spell after surviving their first nightmare and can only return to the real world through one of the special portals, which are known as gateways. And by accomplishing this feat, they become awakened. Also, in this story, there is a character called the Weaver, which is a demon of fate. It holds dominion over fate in the realm, and it's often depicted as a large, monstrous spider figure that is pulling the strings and controlling what's happening inside of its realm. Now, with all the spider imagery that we have in the show, that part particularly stuck out. Not to say that this character in the show is the Weaver, but a character like that may exist in From that's pulling the strings, and that's why we get stuff like the spiderweb imagery in the show. Imagery like Boyd having a run-in with the spiders in the forest, Jade being under what looks like a spider web as he tried to figure out the symbol. The symbol itself is often looked at as spider legs. And there's a multitude of drawings that have spider themes, including one that depicts the cave system underneath as a spider web. So maybe it is a dream or nightmare realm that they're in. They might not be dreaming. They might physically be in a different realm run by dreams and nightmares. Or the nightmares and dreams that they're having are all memories of prior lives because they have been there before. Either way, the spiderweb imagery seems to fit because it may be depicting their fates are all interconnected and the actions they take may affect each other. Or it could show that they are stuck in a designed web and they may not be able to escape. And that'll do it for this episode. As usual, we want to hear your thoughts on what we talked about. And if you have a topic we didn't cover, drop it in the comments so we can all discuss it. And if you like what we're doing, let us and the algorithm know by liking and subscribing. It helps out the channel a lot, and we really do appreciate it. So until next time, stay sleuthy.